Tim, welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're looking at the IWC Portofino Hand-Wound 8 Days, reference 5101-06, 45 millimeters in polished stainless steel. This IWC Portofino is, like all of the watches featured on our channel, actual inventory in stock and available for immediate delivery on our retail website, watchyouwant.com. And if you like getting the latest news, views, and reviews on a daily basis, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now you can see this particular Portofino, having just come back from service, remains shrink wrapped. So I'm not going to break the seal and pop that cherry. I'll leave that to the next owner. But I will show you how it fits on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. I have to say that this thing's a bit of a miracle worker. Ordinarily, a 45 millimeter watch is not going to get along with a wrist as small as mine, but this is no ordinary oversized watch. It's a direct descendant of the great fried egg of 1981, the original IWC Portofino, and in a lot of ways, it's a spitting image of that watch. It also carries over that watch's remarkable ability to cohabitate with a small wrist, and this is why. Under 13 millimeters thick, despite its incredible span, it's thin, it's light, and its lugs are pared down dramatically. Now, IWC gives this watch distinctive and charming lugs, but it cleverly curves them. Ultimately, they almost take a 90-degree turnabout from the direction as they emerge from the case to the direction as they meet the strap itself. And the strap is a big part of that equation because it's only lightly bolstered where it meets the lugs, and it tapers off very quickly for flexibility. And this is no mean strap, because the style is by Schaffhausen, but the strap is by Santoni of Italy, and it's a beautiful alligator piece with monotone stitching, folded sides, and a gorgeous Santoni signed underside made of calfskin leather. It's as soft as it looks, it feels as good as it looks, and it looks amazing. Of course, there's a nice modest traditional pin buckle for easy sizing. I like that. I like the vintage vibe that I'm getting from it, and it also echoes the form of the lugs themselves for nice stylistic parallelism. Well done, IWC. But the star of the show is the case, it is the dial, and there's nothing too elaborate about it. It's simple but well done, with 2 character lines along the flanks of the case. You can see them within the metal that give it a little bit of definition from the side, bowed out, very much rounded in a compound sense. It's beautiful, it's simple, it's elegant, and it leaves the dial itself as the centerpiece. The high ratio of dial to bezel turns the steel case into almost a silver halo and puts the emphasis on the dial. Also makes it read larger than it is. It's big, but with so little bezel actually visible, the dial reads huge, incredibly large in person, and it's just as pronounced on the wrist as it is on the iPhone. Now, the key element here is the color blue. Frankly, I'm in love with it. I've always said that white metal and a dark dial is the most versatile combination in watchmaking, and that definitely obtains here. Now, the actual texture and reflectivity of the dial, very much a matte, not quite a sunburst. It's definitely metallic, but it's not a blinding metallic. Like the rest of the watch, it's understated but elegant. It definitely conveys its color somewhere between a slate gray and a sort of cobalt blue. It's a very intriguing color that reflects just enough light to really catch the eye, but not overpower the applied polished indices or those gorgeous mirror polished foy hands at center. Well done, IWC. The presentation is first rate. All of the printing is subdued, simple, just enough, nothing extraneous. You can see the power reserve scale, 8 days. You can see the sub-second with its delicate and elegant metallic polished chapter ring, and of course the calibrations of 60 minutes around the minute track. Each of the applied indices, and of course the Roman numeral 12 at the index, are beautifully finished and hand applied with exceptional precision. Now, the contrasting color of the date wheel is going to be a matter that will divide opinion. Personally, I like its visibility and legibility. When you have a watch like this, where simplicity is king, simply making the watch legible and usable is essentially a form follows function philosophy. Very Schaffhausen, very IWC. I think it's thematically consistent with the watch as well as the identity of the brand. But also consistent with the identity of the brand is the engineering element itself. Now, like I said, this one is sealed for your protection, the future owner, but you can see the beautiful IWC caliber 59210. 30 joules, operates at a modern 4 Hz. It also features a very robust and shock-resistant free-sprung escapement and exceptional thermal and positional timing variation resistance thanks to a handmade Breguet overcoil hairspring. I like that combination of a modern free-sprung balance with the vintage charm and, quite frankly, unarguable engineering merit of the Breguet hairspring. It's still an awesome solution to the problems of keeping a watch from gaining or losing excessive time regardless of how you lay it down on your dresser. But the other element that deserves to be called out is that this movement, derived from the 50,000 series family of IWC in-house automatics, actually extracts more power reserve from that architecture than does the automatic. Well, the automatic will automatically lock itself when it gets to past 7 days of power reserve discharge because it can't keep good time beyond the discharge of 7 days worth of power. This example actually locks itself after 8 days of discharge, keeping the 9th day in reserve. Because of its different architecture, it's able to keep good time for 8 days, meaning you can go a full week between windings. Now, I know with a manual wind watch, especially one that you're going to wind considerably once a week, connoisseurs are going to want to know, how is the winding action? And I can tell you from having interacted with it considerably, much to my enjoyment, the winding action is excellent. Though based on an automatic movement, the feel of the crown in the hand, the detents, and the creamy smoothness between them is outstanding, and it's on par with the best hand winding movements I've expected. So IWC took the tactile considerations into account when designing this architecture. Now, you will note that the decoration is simple, sober, but well done. There's nothing here that looks crude or unfinished, but it has the look of a vintage pocket watch, and that's the idea. In the tradition of the original 1981 IWC Portofino, the 5251, it has the look of the old caliber 95 pocket watch movement in that reference. Thus, you have the form, not in fact a three-quarter bridge, but suggestive of the original three-quarter bridge architecture of ancestral IWC pocket watch movements. Now, the edges of all the bridges here, as well as the cocks, are beautifully polished to a mirror shine. There is gorgeous graining of the mainspring barrel here itself, and you can see circular graining of the powertrain, which is just peeking out from under this bridge beneath my thumb. All of the screw heads are beautifully polished. Likewise, you can see a nice tight and even perlage pattern on the base plate itself, so it's well finished, make no mistake, but it's sober and simple for historic reasons, and IWC, true to form, respects its heritage. This is a watch that succeeds on so many levels. Aesthetic, absolutely. Engineering, you got it. Ergonomic, no question. And in terms of versatility, this is a watch that will wear well with anything. Though oversized, it's not stacked, it doesn't ride high on the wrist. It'll get along with any dress cuff no matter how tight. And with the added value of this gorgeous Santoni strap and the relative rarity of the IWC Portofino references, let's face it, the Aqua Timer, the Angenieur, the Pilot watches, you see a lot of them. Even the Portuguese has become fairly common these days, but the Portofino is a connoisseur's watch, a rare gem, and an exquisite pleasure when it is encountered. And you can encounter this IWC Portofino Hand-Wound 8 days with a blue dial and a beautiful polished steel case on our website, watchyouwant.com.